Ride along each week as we share proven strategies to strengthen your business, energize your team, and create the business success you've been dreaming about. And now, here's your host, Rich Allen.
How clearly and precisely have you defined your ideal customer? Welcome to the Ultimate Business Tune-Up Podcast, where our one and only goal is to help you tune up your business so you can have the long-lasting success and fulfillment that comes from owning a solid, profitable, and sustainable business. Each week we dive deep into a single topic related to improving your business, improving your team engagement, or improving your relationship with your customers. This week I want to help you resolve one of the most frustrating challenges that face most business owners: having to deal with a customer who is not your ideal customer. If you're like most business owners I've met, you have a handful of customers who you would gladly like to see go away, except for the fact that you need the revenue that comes from them doing business with you. Am I right on this? I can't tell you how many times I've met with the business owners, and before our conversation is over, we've spent some time discussing a difficult or challenging customer issue. When I ask whether that customer was their ideal customer, the answer is always not even close. Yet when it came time to either taking them on as a customer or letting them know that there was not a fit between them and their business, the business owner caved and made the choice to grab the revenue, even though they knew the customer didn't fit their ideal profile. Why is that? Why would they put themselves and their team members through the misery of trying to satisfy someone who would never be satisfied with their products or service? My bet is there were telltale signs along the way during the sales process that screamed, "Run the other way," but they were ignored. Many times the signs aren't that clear, but for some reason your advertising or your promotional materials don't speak directly to the customers you truly want to do business with, but rather they send a vague message to anyone and everyone. As a result, you get just that, anyone and everyone. And to make matters worse, because you're not speaking directly to your ideal customer, you miss the mark on getting their attention, and your marketing messages come across more like noise than music to the individual you really want to connect with. No matter which camp you're in, the camp where you're knowingly taking on the wrong customers, or you're taking on any and everyone who raises their hand, or you can't seem to get the attention of the specific customers you need and want, the problem is likely that you haven't defined your ideal avatar or ideal customer with enough detail. I know this because I struggle with this problem myself. For years, I've defined my ideal customer as someone who reminds me of my dad, a hardworking business owner who knows his or her trade well, but doesn't have the knowledge or background in owning and running their own business. I thought that was a pretty clear definition, at least it was in my head. That was until recently when I began working with some guys who specialize in helping people like me who have a podcast grow their podcast audience. Their marketing message seemed to hit me right between the eyes. I got the sense they were talking directly to me, which is why I responded to their outreach email and set up a call to learn more about what they do. It's funny thinking back on it now, but they had done the hard work of defining their ideal customer, their target avatar, as they would say, and they made sure their marketing message was worded so that I would not only see it, but react favorably to it. And it worked. So now I'm a client of theirs, working with them to better define my target avatar for this podcast. And I thought I would share some of the tips they gave me on getting better clarity on the business owners I'm trying to reach and connect with. I thought that since their process worked on me, I'd share it with you so you could benefit from this keen insight that if we want to connect directly with our ideal customer, our target avatar, we've got to first answer several important questions about them. Let me share some of the questions they've been asking me and I'll ask you to think about your business and your ideal customer as we go along. You okay with this? Here we go. Aside from the standard age and gender descriptions, one of the first questions they asked me was, how would your ideal customer identify themselves in 3 words or less? I found this to be a thought-provoking question. I had never given this much thought. I had the definition in my head, but I never thought to ask how they would describe themselves. This may be one to write down and spend a few minutes thinking about. How would your ideal customer identify themselves in 3 words or less? They next asked me to make a list of their pain points, which sounded like a pretty typical way to begin defining what my ideal customer might need from me. But then they asked me to identify the one pain point that they wanted to solve the most and the one that I could help them with the most. Again, I had a list of pain points in my head, things like worrying about making payroll and covering their expenses, concerns about the quality and execution of their products and services, meeting deadlines and customer expectations, issues with team members who weren't getting their work done well, challenges with recruiting great people to their team, overall stress from the financial pressures or the business, or just burnout and exhaustion from working day and night to keep the business going. But I never thought to narrow it down to just one thing, and then define how I would help them solve or resolve that one thing. How about you? Would you have a laundry list of things you help your customers with? Or do you have one big thing that you fix or solve or help them avoid with your products and services? Their feedback to me was that if I was going to help my customers with everything that was bugging them or causing them pain, I wasn't much different than any other business advisor or business coach with a podcast about making their business better. Ouch, that hurts. But after giving it some thought, I think they're right. And the same may be true for you. How do you differentiate yourself from your competitors? If you solve the same list of problems your competitor does, what makes you the one they must do business with? It may be worth thinking about this a bit. Here's another question they asked me. What problems and solutions are they aware of, and what problems and solutions are they unaware of? This made me think a bit. Putting the common problems and solutions into 2 different categories, those that they're aware of and those that they're not aware of, is an interesting way to isolate things that I may know that I could share to get their attention faster. It's a clever way to gain not only their attention, but their trust by giving them insights they don't already have. I'm not sure about you, but if your ideal customer already knows all the problems and potential solutions, then what value do you bring to them? You've got to identify those things that only you know, and by working with you or using your products or services, they can solve the problems that they didn't even know they had. Here's one last one for you to consider. What's your solution to their problem? It's a singular question with a singular answer. They didn't want me to give them 10 things I could do to help a business owner solve all their problems. They were asking for the one big problem I was going to solve and the one big solution I was going to share. Again, it made me think that we oftentimes speak in generalities rather than in specifics. I've heard many times that business owners fear that they will give away their best stuff, and if they do, why would the customer want to buy from them? But as we discussed this point, we all agreed that if you give away your best stuff, your ideal customer will assume you have much more to give them and will want to build and continue the relationship because you gave them your best. Do you agree with that? If not, just drop me an email, let me know why you don't. But if you do agree, then perhaps your best stuff should be what you give away as part of the courting process with your ideal prospects. I'm pretty confident that if you answer these questions, then begin to position your business as the only place you can get this kind of insight, knowledge, advice, and solutions for their number one problem, they'll never feel the need to go anywhere else to compare or contrast. To be honest, there were several more questions that I was asked to consider, but these were the big ones that not only got my attention and made me think hard, but they were the ones that I think most of us as business owners tend to gloss over and generalize rather than getting very specific and detailed. I hope this has been helpful. I know it was for me. If you'd like some help in getting a better handle on your ideal customer, your target avatar, don't hesitate to reach out and ask. I'd be glad to work through these questions with you to refine and refresh the details related to the customer you would love to work with. In the end, taking time to work through this will make your customer experience better, your team members happier, and your business will grow faster than ever. Take some time this week to work on this important aspect of your business. Now, before we go, 2 quick asks. Share this podcast with your fellow business owners. I'm trying to get these free business tips to as many business owners as possible. I want every business owner to be successful, and this is my gift to you and to them. Thanks for passing this along. And lastly, please leave a review on this podcast. The more thumbs up this podcast gets, the more it will be found when someone's stuck or struggling and looking for advice. Your review can help make this happen. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to tune in next week when we're going to discuss 3 options for getting work done. You won't want to miss it. Meanwhile, if you have a question, suggestion, or would simply like to connect, shoot me an email at rich@tourtoprofit.com. Now go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.
Thank you for listening to the Ultimate Business Tune-Up. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. In the meantime, find more resources at tourtoprofit.com and connect with Rich by sending a message to rich@tourtoprofit.com. Until next time, ride hard.